Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling, and I'm your host. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party and the official opposition, was in Vancouver talking to reporters about legislation that they're going to introduce to keep hospitals safer from some of the policies that many that work in the hospitals disagree with. And when the reporters were trying to talk to him, of course, everything is all about trying to catch him up so that they can run around and blame him for all of the problems that the Liberal Party has brought to your door. They keep struggling to try and make it seem like the reason that your life, that the country, that your dollar, that everything that you purchase, that your purchasing power is in the very low is somehow his fault and not the party that's been in power for 10 years. And I think that it's time that we understand that. I mean, there's just no way in the world that this is not unison. There's the ideology of the people who are running this country are trying to make you believe something that your life is better than it actually is. That's what it seems like, in my opinion, anyway. Now, I just got a couple of questions there's two questions from reporters, and I think that Mr. Poilievre handles it properly. I think that he really closes the door on the second guy, and it's worth watching. So before we get into it, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel with your friends. All right, let's do this.
Federal Conservatives have been skeptical of the billions in taxpayer money backstopping electric vehicle manufacturing. Would you cancel these investment tax credits?
We always look at Justin Trudeau's many promises and we judge them not on what he says, but what actually happens. My platform will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. And it will also reform our tax system to bring home the hundreds of billions of dollars of jobs, businesses, and opportunities that Trudeau's radical policies have driven abroad. We will bring home powerful paychecks by green-lighting major projects with faster approval times. We will approve major resource projects in this country rather than bringing in the resources from dirty dictators. We will cut taxes in small businesses for job creators, and we will allow Canadians to pay less and bring home more. Thank you.
So a couple of things that they're not telling you about the batteries. Canada's current infrastructure is not prepared. We have a very small amount of our actual mining happening. So many of these dirty, because it's quite dirty to manufacture a lot of these metals, are being made in China. So now really what we're doing is we're letting Germany, in the case of Volkswagen, import metal from China into Canada and hire people from other countries to do the job. What I'm struggling to understand is why are we not using Canadian product, Canadian? Is it not cleaner if the process is the same in both countries? One has to be shipped across the world and one has to be driven down the road. Plus, that's Canadian jobs. Now, I appreciate that everybody's going to say, yeah, but we are not allowed to cut down a tree. And I think that that's something that we need to discuss as the public narrative, the national state of this country. I mean, we have to, as a people, begin to realize that the unity that we need to possess will have to revolve around the economy. That's the one thing that we will all share, that we all have in common. And I appreciate that perhaps some will want to do it one way and want to do it another way, but I don't think that any of them will want to do it the hungry way. We have to bring all of it here, all of it from, they always say from like fork to like farm to fork. Well, the same idea, from the mine to the time it's driven off the road, off the assembly line. All of that material. The reason that it's being put in Canada is because those countries know that we have the resources. And so we need to start handling and harnessing those resources, which means that we need to get the bureaucracy out of the way to create jobs. Yeah, we need to make sure that we can do it clean, but that's something that we always do anyway. All right, now let's listen to this. I mean, you can imagine the guy's face when Pierre Poilievre gets done talking. It's funny.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Mr. Poilievre. Would a Poilievre government cancel the effective raise in capital gains tax?
There isn't one right now. So we're going to see what Justin Trudeau again has promised something. Looks like he's backing down. He's taken the promise out of his budget, and with only a month to go, still no legislation. So what we know is that whenever Justin Trudeau raises taxes, it's waitresses, barbers, shop floor, manufacturing workers who pay the price. Remember, he said that he wouldn't raise taxes on the middle class. 80% of middle class Canadians are paying higher income tax than when Trudeau was first elected. He said his carbon tax would never go up more than 11 cents a litre. And now it's up to 17 cents, headed to 61 cents a litre. He said his deficits would never be bigger than $10 billion and they'd be gone in 3 years. Well, here we are, $600 billion and an inflation crisis later. That promise is in smithereens on the floor as well. I always find it interesting when the media comes to me and says, Justin Trudeau has promised a utopia. Are you going to remove his utopia if you get elected? Well, let's see this utopia first. So far, it has, the word utopia, ironically, in ancient Greek means no place. And no place has Justin Trudeau followed through on any of his promises. Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost, the crime, and corruption. And we will replace him after the carbon tax election with a Conservative government that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
You'll note that he didn't say thank you to that reporter because he knew right away who they were from. It's one thing to answer the question. It's another thing to try and set him up, right? To try and make it seem like he's going to say, oh, so now he can run around and say, oh, no. Like if you go on Twitter today, they're all trying to say that Pierre Poilievre said that he's going to remove your freedom. You know, like somehow the Emergency Act wasn't invoked, right? Like that didn't happen, right? That's just not in the collective consciousness of people. But somehow this monster under the bed may happen if you elect Pierre Poilievre, because in the two main provinces, British Columbia and Ontario, the Liberals have shot their shot, right? They went in and said, we promise you all this money, and they're flatlining. And then they went into Quebec and said, we're going to give you $1 billion for a bridge, and they're flatlining. They keep hoping that their numbers are going to spike. They keep hoping that they're going to make all of these promises, but they're just the same promises, and they don't understand because they're not suffering economic hardship, right? The rest of us. So it's not something they can appreciate. It's only something that they can see on paper, but the reality of it is not settling in on them because they're elitists. They don't come from poor. So they don't necessarily understand. They just think that if they shine enough of it, a shiny dollar in front of your face, you're going to just, go along with whatever they say. But we know that for 9 years, they've been doing that exact same thing and nothing positive is happening. Now, I would also point out, as I wrap this up, that the capital gains tax that he had put in the budget was removed from the budget. And I think that's because the New Democrats knew that they couldn't support it if they left it in there. However, there's also a thing in the new budget that I looked at that wants to increase the amount of money that can be lent to foreign governments. Not lent, donated. They want to increase the amount of money they can give to, say, Ukraine, or they can give to, say, France, or any of these countries. Any country, doesn't matter. They want to increase that amount because right now we have that under legislation. They want to increase that amount. They're not talking about it. They're not mentioning it. But what I want to understand is, why do they want to increase that amount? If they're so aware of the economic hardships Canadians are going through, why in their minds is it better to keep sending more Canadian dollars out of the country? That's not the way to revive the economy. And you have to ask yourself, if every single solitary person, grade 6 economics, understands what I just said, why don't they get it? And if they do get it and they're doing it anyway, what do they know that we don't? All right, I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you all for listening. I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, subscribe, share this channel with your friends. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you want to join memberships, that kind of support is always appreciated as well. I'll talk to you next time.